Welcome to my channel. Please like, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell before we start the video. Let's go.
From Rags to Riches, Chapter 1 to 10.
Rags to Riches Chapter 1 to 2 Chapter 1. The dining hall of the University of Technology of the Province of China, in the university city of Guangcheng. Qin Ming, a junior student who was working part-time at noon to earn his living expenses, was wiping the table, but his movement suddenly froze. There was a pair of men and women at the table next to him that he knew. One was his fellow countryman Yang Wei, whom he called his brother, and the other was his girlfriend Li Meng, whom he had been talking to for 2 years. Li Meng opened the box of a mobile phone and said with surprise, "Wow, Yang Wei, it's really the latest Apple phone. I've wanted it for a long time. You're too good to me, mua de dot and quat." As he watched his girlfriend Li Meng kissing Yang Wei in public, Qin Ming's heart was dripping blood and his eyes were round with anger. Yang Wei smiled smugly and reached under the table and then through Li Meng's skirt, rubbing her thighs and saying, "Li Meng, I'm Yang Wei, I'll do what I say. What's a $10,000 phone? My family can easily earn $500,000 a year. In the future, if you follow me, you will be guaranteed a good meal. Dot and quat." Qin Ming cupped his hand around the tablecloth, his whole body shaking with anger. They were even cheating on him here behind his back? Qin Ming swung a plate and smashed it over, hitting the two men on the table. Yang Wei was shocked and shouted, "My God, are you crazy? You stinking dishwasher, Ming, how is it you question mark and quat?" Li Meng was also panicked when she was caught cheating on her new phone, but she soon regained her composure. She was concerned about Yang Wei instead and asked, "Are you hurt, Wei question mark and quat?" Seeing his girlfriend ignore his presence and care for Yang Wei, Qin Ming's heart cracked open. Qin Ming's neck turned red and he shouted angrily, "Li Meng, I worked so hard at my part-time job to buy you a new phone that you like. How dare you cheat on me behind my back? Yang Wei, how can you be a brother like that? Prying me out of my corner, I don't have a brother like you. Dot and quat. There was a big fuss here and it immediately attracted the attention of the whole dining hall. Li Meng was also enraged and took the initiative to embrace Yang Wei, proudly showing off, "Yes, I did move on. That's because you're poor. I can't stand your poverty anymore. I can't stand your poverty anymore. You're not worthy to be with me, you stinking silk. I didn't expect you to be a dishwasher in the dining hall. TSK, you're nothing but a white face. A rich young man like Wei is the real man." Dot and quat. Yang Wei wiped the dirty water off his face. The matter had come to this point, the cheating was discovered. He also decided to turn his face. Said Qin Ming, "You also do not take a piss to see your poor look? Do you deserve a woman as beautiful as Li Meng? Do you have the money to give Li Meng the life she wants? You're just a table cleaner and dishwasher. Do you know what you are? Brother? I only call you brother to get closer to Li Meng." Dot and quat. Qin Ming said undeterred, "Li Meng, I'm your boyfriend." Dot and quat. Li Meng said contemptuously, "Yeah, I used to see you as a handsome guy and got carried away. Ever since I saw you washing cars, watching the door, scrubbing dishes, all those jobs that sluts do, I felt disgusted with you. If you're not ashamed of yourself, I'm ashamed of you." Dot and quat. Watchdog material? These vicious words were like a leaning sword that plunged directly into Qin Ming's heart, destroying his last hope. At this moment, some of the students who had been enjoying themselves said mockingly, "Indeed, you can't blame others for falling in love if you're not capable, can you? In this day and age, it's normal to fall in love freely. Everyone has the right to choose." Dot and quat. Another person said sympathetically, "If you're to blame, you should blame your lack of money. If you had money to buy a fruit machine, wouldn't your girlfriend have run away question mark and quat?" Another person said, "Brother, if you want to live a decent life, you need to have some green on your head." Dot and quat. If you don't have money, you can be a bachelor silk. Jerking off is enough. Why should it get in the way of other girls looking for their own happiness question mark and quat. Yang Wei was pleasantly surprised that the people around him were actually speaking for him. And yes, in this day and age, laughing at the poor is not a laughing matter. He laughed loudly. "That's right, you don't have money, that's the original sin. How much money can you make by polishing plates on the side? It was the right choice for Li Meng to give you up in time. My family has money, I can give Li Meng everything she wants. Can you question mark and quat?" Li Meng said with disgust, "I was hoping we could have a good time and save you some face, but now I don't have to. You stinking silk, get as far away from me as you can." Dot and quat. Although his family was poor, he worked part-time day and night to buy Li Meng the things she liked, and in the past 2 years, he had spent more than 20,000 yuan for her. What happened? Li Meng had finished enjoying herself and climbed to a higher branch, so she dumped him. As for fellow villager Yang Wei, he was bullied by his fellow villagers since he was a child, and it was always Qin Ming who took care of him, and used to be his little follower, but since he went to university, he has changed. But Qin Ming never expected him to become so bad and pry his brother out of his corner. Humph, hey, and quat. Qin Ming was greatly irritated and shook his head. Dead to these two. He said with tears in the corners of his eyes, Li Meng, do you love money that much? Haven't you ever loved me? Inquat. Li Meng hummed, yes, I love money. If you had money, I wouldn't have left you. But do you have any? I've been with you for 2 years, and you've got shit. I've been poor for 2 years. 2 years of my youth. I really regret it. Inquat. Yang Wei put his arm around Li Meng and arrogantly said, what? Qin Ming, who Li Meng loves as her freedom, you are also a scholar. You know that freedom is the right of every citizen, right? We are all from the same village. I advise you to stop hitting on Li Meng in the future, or I will turn against you. Don't forget that your father works in my shop as a warehouse manager. One phone call from me and I'll tell your dad to lose his job. Inquat. Li Meng gave Yang Wei another affectionate kiss and said, Wei, you're really good. I really didn't pick the wrong person. Inquat. The two of them were about to leave when suddenly, Qin Ming bellowed, wait, there's still a score to settle. Inquat. The crowd thought they were done, but Qin Ming was actually going to fight back? But how can you fight back when your new boyfriend is so powerful and wealthy, a dishwasher? Qin Ming took a deep breath and his eyes were no longer confused and hesitant. Instead they were resolute. He said in a cold voice, well, since we broke up, I have to pay for the breakup canon yesterday, so you won't say you're sorry for your 2 years of youth. Inquat. With that, Qin Ming took out a $50 bill and threw it on the ground. What do you mean? Inquat. A breakup fee of $50? Inquat. The cheapest breakup fee ever was born. Inquat. This guy is funny, right? Is he stimulated by being dumped? Inquat. Hearing the ridicule of others, Li Meng's became even more arrogant and said disdainfully, TSK, all you have is $50. You're worse than the average dishwasher, and this is still a breakup fee? I'm laughing my ass off. I'll give you 100 for pity. Inquat. Qin Ming said in a deep voice, don't misunderstand. This is not a breakup fee. This is the cost of our sex last night. We've been together for 2 years, 73 days. I'm stronger. I've been with you about 4 times a week, and I've spent about 20,000 yuan on you. Roughly speaking, sleeping with you once is about 48 yuan. I think it's a good deal. That's 50 for the one hit last night, and the remaining 2 as a tip. Inquat. Quietly, there were actually no less than 20 people gathered here in the dining hall. They were all spectators, but they were all stunned to suddenly hear Qin Ming's so refreshingly uncomplicated cost of breaking up the canon. And after the silence passed, the entire dining hall burst into a wave of laughter. PFFT, ha 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 he he he, Inquat. This is strong and unbeatable. $48 to sleep once. You can't even sleep for 48 outside. Ha ha ha. Inquat. It's so cheap. TSK. Inquat. With this calculation, why do I think this man is making a lot of money? Inquat. 4 times a week. My god, only $48 a time. Ooh, pretty girl, let's add a WeChat. Inquat. $48 a night? Give me a year's share. Inquat. Li Meng's face was extremely ugly, a blue pale. She was so angry that her puffy breasts were trembling. She didn't know what to say for a while because she couldn't refute this fact. She was all stunned. Those words were truly a dragon-slaying knife, slaughtering her to shame. She wished she could turn back time. She would run away from here before Qin Ming said that. She pointed at Qin Ming and stammered, You, Qin Ming, you stinking silk.
You remember, away, where are you going?
Wait for me. Inquat. Yang Wei, how have the face to stay here? Hurry to go. Save him to be ridiculed as a shoe picker. Qin Ming watched the two leave. This breakup farce. He won, but he was not happy at all. Having lost his love, Qin Ming was in no mood to work. He left the dining hall and sat despondently on the side of the road on the university campus. As Qin Ming was sulking and sad, he was suddenly surrounded by 2 imposing men in black. Qin Ming was stunned as he looked back to see that there was no one else behind him and that the target was indeed him. He nervously took a step back and said, I don't seem to know you guys. Are you mistaken for someone else? Inquat. The man took out a photo and looked at it, then looked at Qin Ming and said, Mr. Qin, our boss is here to see you. Inquat. Who is your boss, and what exactly is that about? Qin Ming asked resistantly. The man in black shook his head and said, We are only responsible for inviting you there. We don't know anything else. Please don't worry, Mr. Qin. We don't do illegal business. If Mr. Qin doesn't have the guts to get in the car, we won't force him. Inquat. After saying that, the man made a polite gesture of invitation, and then Qin Ming saw the door of a stretch Grand Prix parked at the roadside being opened. Qin Ming suddenly smiled. My girlfriend is also gone and I am so poor that I am left with guts. What is worthy of your attempts? Inquat. Soon, Qin Ming saw through the car window that the car had arrived at the top of Guangzhou City's richest villa area, Yunshan Villa, and the car drove all the way to the topmost villa. Qin Ming swallowed his saliva. How rich did he have to be to live here? Qin Ming got down from the car and looked at the high metal parapets, the retro layout, the bronze gates, and the 2 brave stone statues, he would never have thought that he would have the chance to set foot in such a rich place in his life. Mr. Qin, please and quat. The man in the black suit continued to look rather polite. Qin Ming took a deep breath. It was a blessing, not a curse, but a curse that could not be avoided. Go in. Chapter 2. Within the villa at the top of Cloud Mountain, opulent and gilded are not enough to describe the luxury of this house. Relics and antiques are everywhere. Famous Chinese and foreign paintings are on display, so luxurious that I am afraid that even a tile on the floor is enough to pay Qin Ming's salary for a month. While Qin Ming was thinking, he arrived at the study, a very simple style, a row of bookcases, a row of specimens of hunted animals' heads, and across the flower arrangement of the round table in front of him, there was a dying old man sitting at the other end, as if a candle in the wind. The old man was leaning back in his chair, his eyes closed. Behind the old man stood a number of black-clad bodyguards and a young and beautiful female secretary. Qin Ming frowned and said, "Who is this man? Why does he look familiar?" And quat. Suddenly, the bad old man opened his eyes and said, "Qin Ming, you're still in such a bad way. What? Have you forgotten about me?" And quat. Suddenly, Qin Ming recalled that 2 years ago, he had saved a man who had taken his life lightly when he was delivering takeaways on a rainy day. At that time, he was still in his first summer of college, and in line with the principle of saving people to the end and sending the Buddha to the West, Qin Ming even took care of this man in the hospital for a while, so he was impressed. "Ah, I remember now, it's you." And quat. Qin Ming suddenly stood up and pointed at the other party and said, "The uncle who had a terminal illness 2 years ago and drove a Rolls Royce and lightly died by the river. Your name is Chang Hongxi, right?" And quat. "Oh, yes, it's me." And quat. Chang Hongxi smiled broadly. "We meet again." And quat. Qin Ming took a closer look and said, "No, why have you aged so much, uncle? Aren't you only in your 50s? You look like you're almost 70." And quat. Chang Hongxi said casually, "It's just a side effect of chemotherapy for cancer. No matter how good I am, I can't beat old age, sickness and death." And quat. Qin Ming's face sank. He didn't know how to appease a man who was suffering from a disease. "I promised you that I would repay you, and today is the day I repay you," Chang Hongxi said. "Sign this document, and you will have everything I have." And quat. As soon as the words left his mouth, the beautiful young female secretary behind him took out an inheritance agreement and handed it to Qin Ming. "Ah, inheritance?" Qin Ming felt that this was not quite real. It was like a dream. He said incomprehensibly, "Are you serious? Even if your wife cheated on you and you are terminally ill, I am not related to you, so you don't have to give me the whole inheritance, right? Don't you still have a few children?" And quat. Chang Hongxi suddenly shook his body with excitement and said dully, "The 3 sons and 2 daughters are not mine. All of them are not my seed." And quat. "The company's main business is to provide a wide range of products and services to the market. I spent 2 years secretly taking back all that they took from me," Chang Hongxi continued. "Unfortunately, my death is imminent, and the large corporate empire I have built must be taken over by someone. I still owe you a favor, and if you are willing, everything I have, you will inherit. You can also take a sum of money and leave if you don't want to." And quat. A sudden fortune from heaven was simply better luck than winning the first prize in the sports lottery, simply because of a good deed of saving someone's life 2 years ago. But Qin Ming was not stupid, inheriting Chang Hongxi's wealth, but also his enemies and troubles, and these days, people who hated the rich abounded. However, Qin Ming did not hesitate. He was not going to be pretentious. He needed money. With money his family could live a good life. With money he would not be underestimated. With money he would no longer be a pile of mud in the ground, no longer a stinking silk. Qin Ming signed his name and put his thumbprint on it. Chang Hongxi said to the female secretary who was packing up the inheritance agreement, "Song Ying, from now on Qin Ming will be your young master." And quat. Song Ying looked seriously at Qin Ming and bowed reverently. "Young master, Song Ying, from this moment onwards, will become your most loyal personal secretary." And quat. Qin Ming hurriedly said, "Eh? My secretary? Song Ying is it? Actually, I am just an ordinary college student, so please take care of me in the future." And quat. Song Ying smiled faintly and said politely, "Yes, the young master's character is really humble." And quat. At this moment, Chang Hongxi stretched out his hand, seemingly greeting Qin Ming, who, with gratitude, hurriedly walked forward and half crouched beside the chair, looking up at this man who had given him an unknown amount of wealth. Chang Hongxi caressed Qin Ming's head and said, "Remember, my name is Chang Hongxi, an overseas Chinese. 2 years ago, when I fell down on myself for a month, it was thanks to your care that I was able to regain my strength. You and I have never known each other, and I give you everything I have, one as a reward for your kindness, and the other as, I am lonely, I have no one close to me, not even a friend. You have inherited everything from me, and I hope you will not follow my old path." And quat. Qin Ming's heart moved and was quite touched. This Chang Hongxi was even worse than the emperor in ancient times, a lonely man not to mention being green. He suddenly had a sour nose and felt a bit of sympathy for this bad old man with a green head. He answered and said, "I know, righteous father." Chang Hongxi suddenly grinned and said, "Sweet talker. However, the doctor said I should be able to last for another 6 months. Since you have signed the agreement, that means you still have 6 months to familiarize yourself with the inheritance you are going to inherit. If you are not sure, Song Ying will tell you. I have an important meeting in England tonight. Send me to the tarmac. Qin Ming responded. Since he was called his righteous father, he had to do his duty as a righteous son. He pushed his wheelchair to the helicopter outside the villa estate. After seeing Chang Hongxi off, Qin Ming went back inside the opulent villa, touching the famous Van Gogh paintings, hugging the porcelain unearthed during the Ming dynasty, and finally throwing himself on the rhinoceros skin soft sand, looking at the ceiling that had the same crystal chandelier of the British royal family. That was a pleasure, the first time in his life he enjoyed it so much. However, Qin Ming was still a bit confused and asked, "Song Ying, tell me, is this all true?" Song Ying put his hands below his belly and bowed slightly, saying, "Yes, young master, you have inherited all of the young master's property. Everything here is yours." Qin Ming turned around in confusion and asked, "Are you part of the property too, Song Ying? Isn't it supposed to be a relationship between the superior and the subordinate these days? Didn't you sign a contract of sale?" Song Ying respectfully said, "It is literally true. Song Ying is the personal secretary chosen by the master for the young master. For this reason, Song Ying was selected from the training camp and trained for an extra 2 years." Qin Ming's heart stirred. Selected from a training camp? Qin Ming sized up such a young and beautiful female secretary, tall and curvaceous. She was also a sinking fish, not knowing how many times better than that Li Meng. Qin Ming was stunned for a couple of seconds, then his expression returned to normal and he said, "Despite wearing professional clothes, she has more charm. She is really beautiful. But it's not polite to keep staring at someone's body. I have to maintain restraint and not be too rustic." The pretty female secretary was also slightly surprised. She had met many powerful people. Most of them couldn't move their eyes when they saw her stunning beauty, while this young man in front of her, who was in his early 20s and just in his blood, was actually only slightly stunned at her, so determined that she immediately had a lot of good feelings towards Qin Ming. He felt that Qin Ming was different from other men. Qin Ming looked at Song Ying and thought to himself that if he took Song Ying back and appeared in front of Li Meng, with Song Ying's beauty, the scene would be enough for her to go crazy with jealousy, right? But then he thought that would be too uncouth. He had become a class-rich man, and he still wanted to do that kind of low-level face-punching in urban novels? But when Qin Ming thought that his 2-year relationship had been betrayed, he couldn't bear to think about it. Seeing the depression on Qin Ming's face, Song Ying said curiously, "Young master, what's bothering you? May I ask if Song Ying can help?" Qin Ming shook his head and sighed, "Nothing. It's just that at noon today, my girlfriend ran away with a rich man and I'm angry." Song Ying did not understand and asked, "Young master is already rich. What kind of woman can't you get? As long as you know that young master has shown his current status and value, the other party will definitely rejoin young master's embrace." Qin Ming smiled lightly. "I don't want to end up like my father." "Song Ying, do you know what love means?" Song Ying blushed and said back, "Making love? It's when a man and woman strip naked and join together." Qin Ming had a dark face. Did this young female secretary lack some basic common sense? He shook his head and said, "Forget it, it's all in the past. Don't think about these useless things. By the way, Song Ying, how much money can I inherit from my righteous father?" When Song Ying heard that he was asking about the business, he immediately took a tablet computer from the car and said while flipping through the report, "I'm very sorry, young master, because there are some foreign businesses, the administrative staff there have not submitted the information to me yet, so I can't completely consolidate it. But the information I have so far shows that the companies in China that are making a profit, both large and small, made a net profit of about $34.5 billion last quarter. As for the total assets, there is not enough information to get a clear picture." Qin Ming exclaimed, "That much in 1 quarter?" Song Ying smiled sweetly and said, "Yes, you are that rich, young master." Qin Ming joked, "Song Ying, I have so much money, do you think I should continue to study at the university?" Song Ying tilted her head and said, "Young master, if you don't eat, you will be hungry. If you don't study, you will be foolish. Young master has a humble character and should become a man of great wisdom." Qin Ming's heart twitched. This female secretary felt not simple. These words went straight to his heart. Yes, what's wrong with being rich? He knew very well the principle of sitting on the mountain and eating the empty one, and only by improving his skills could he keep the golden mountain. Qin Ming's fist was clenched. Okay, in order to forget about my lost love as soon as possible, I want to be angry and strong. Alright, Song Ying, take me back to school. Oh, by the way, transfer $500,000 to my card. Quat. Yes, young master. Quat. Song Ying smiled faintly and bowed to send Qin Ming out to his car. Chapter 3. Xiao Ming, where are you working part-time? Hi, maths class will start soon. Old he can't see people but he has to name them to fail the class. By the way, I've got your textbook for you. Come directly to classroom 602. Quat. Qin Ming had just gotten out of his Mercedes when he saw his dorm mate Zhao Linyu texting for him. Qin Ming had no choice, so he ran wildly towards the school building. But when he arrived at the classroom, he was still late, so he stood at the door and said loudly, "Report to the teacher, I'm late." Quat. He continued to solve the problem for a full minute and finished explaining it before clapping his hands and glancing at Qin Ming, who was standing and sweating. The atmosphere was so awkward that the other students were either pitiful, mocking or expressionless. Old he said discontentedly, "Qin Ming, did you come to university to work or to study? If you prefer to work, you should take a break from school and work hard. It's glorious to work, and there's no shame in scrubbing plates in the dining hall." Quat. Look at you, you've even forgotten to change your part-time clothes. Quat. Look at you, you don't even bring your textbook to my senior maths class. Geez, you prodigy, huh? Quat. Old he's series of angry questioning made the air nearly freeze. Anyone could tell that old he was angry. How could Qin Ming dare to retort? He was late, he was in the wrong, he had done something wrong, he was scolded and stood well. But at this time, two more people came outside the door. Weren't they Yang Wei and Li Meng? They were from the same class. When Yang Wei and Li Meng saw Qin Ming, their hearts burst, and they wanted to taunt him about how he was still wearing the clothes he used to work in the lunchroom. But since this was a classroom, they shouted honestly, "Report, sorry teacher, we're late." Quat. Old he frowned and waved his hand, saying, "Go in and pay attention next time." Quat. He Chu, as the older teacher, was particularly snobbish, seeing Yang Wei as a rich kid and giving him a break, because he had given him some gifts for failing his last class, and He Chu had taken special care of him. Qin Ming thought that Yang Wei and Li Meng would also be reprimanded, but they were not. He said unconvincingly, "Report, Yang Wei and Li Meng are allowed in. Can I go in now?" Quat. Yang Wei, who had just sat down, seized the opportunity and scoffed. "What, aren't you getting ready to go to work? You're all dressed up, we can make you a working activist." Quat. Ha 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 ha, and Quat. Some of the people laughed out loud. The company's main business is to provide a wide range of products and services to the public. Where's the sour taste? TSK, just like the smell from the rancid vegetable bucket in the dining hall. Where did it come from? Quat. When she said that, someone really pinched her nose and said in disgust, "TSK, Qin Ming, don't you wash up before coming to class? What a rat turd that stinks up a class." Quat. Li Meng laughed with glee. She finally got her chance to retaliate. She had made a fool of herself at lunchtime in the dining hall by saying that it was $48 and a bargain. In her mind, Li Meng was thinking, why did I fall for this little white boy in the first place? You're just useful, but without money you're still useless? You want a beautiful woman like me to suffer with you? Look at you, you smell like rancid food, who doesn't mind you? Are you ashamed of yourself? Quat. He Chu said discontentedly, look at you, you're making a good classroom unsettled. Come up to the blackboard and solve this problem linear algebra, then stay in class, otherwise go back and wash this sour smell of yours before you come back. Quat. Qin Ming bit his lip, he was extremely depressed inside. On what grounds? Why was it that Yang Wei and Li Meng were also late yet they were not punished at all, and he still had to do the problem to get to class? Did he not pay his tuition fee? Although I was poor, I had paid all my tuition fees, right? But this is a school, what student would dare to challenge the authority of a teacher? A bad mark or dismissal would be no joke. Qin Ming walked up to the podium and looked at a problem on the blackboard of linear algebra for range values. The first thing you need to do is to get a good understanding of the subject. At first, Yang Wei even bragged to Qin Ming, saying that in this society, there is nothing that money can't solve. He Chu was standing by the side, confident of his victory, and said, Humphrey, this is today's new knowledge. You are a poor student who is addicted to working all day. It is strange that you will prep. TSK, I can still smell this stench from so far away. It's really bad. Quat. Some students at the back of the class were curious. New knowledge, will Qin Ming be able to do it? Although he's usually quite good. Quat. Yang Wei said disdainfully, he doesn't know how to do it. Recently, in order to buy a mobile phone for Li Meng, he has been working 3 jobs a day, one in the canteen at noon, one in the takeaway in the evening, and one in the bar at night. Does he have time to study? Quat. Li Meng also sneered, definitely can't solve it. Teacher, he expelled him on the right. really shameless said is his kind of people. He's such a poor, qualified with people like us in the same classroom class ? And quat. The first dormitory of Qin Ming. Zhao Li Niu dissatisfied said Li Meng, what is wrong with you? Aren't you Xiao Ming's girlfriend? You're singing along with Yang Wei here. And quat. Li Meng spiritedly replied, we broke up, this stinky silk doesn't deserve me, he only deserves to be a watchdog and scrub the dishes. And quat. Wow! And quat. Suddenly, the other students let out a gasp as, on the blackboard, Qin Ming took an oil-based pen and quickly wrote down the formula for the solution, drew the model, analyzed the geometry, expressed the linear algebra in numbers, and finally found the spatial values of the variables. This solution was so detailed that He Qiu was dumbfounded. Having been a teacher for so many years, he knew from a glance that Qin Ming usually worked very hard. When Qin Ming finished solving the problem, he saw the shocked expression of He Qiu, the adoring eyes of his classmates, and Yang Wei's shit-eating expression, and the suppressed anger in his heart had been vented. Qin Ming snorted coldly in his heart, you want to make things difficult for me? Do you really think I've been studying for nothing? And quat. He Qiu had no choice, he had agreed to let Qin Ming stay in class if he could solve it. He impatiently waved his hand and said find your own seat, but next time you are late, deduct your credits. And quat. Qin Ming naturally sat with the three brothers in his dormitory. Zhao Li Niu gave a thumbs up and said, Niu, brother, oh, this is your book, I brought it for you. And quat. Liang Shaoyang also praised him, I'm impressed that you have time to study even though you work so many jobs. And quat. Sun Jipang also said, but, Xiao Ming, why haven't you changed your clothes? I haven't seen anyone since noon. And since when did you break up with Li Meng? You've been together for 2 years, haven't you? And quat. The three dormitory brothers all supported Qin Ming when he told them about the breakup at noon. Although Qin Ming was poor, he was working 3 jobs a day to buy the latest Apple phone for Li Meng. But Li Meng was so lucky that she followed Yang Wei, a rich kid. The first thing he did was to go to college with his brother, and he was in the economics class. The 3 people in the dorm hummed at the same time, what a dog and a man, Xiao Ming you do not worry about it, the male ambition in the 4 directions, the end of the world where there is no grass. I'll introduce you to a better one later. And quat. Qin Ming was grateful for his brother's reassurance and said calmly I know, life goes on, what's done is done, I won't stand still. And quat. The afternoon session passed quickly, with He Qiu leaving straight after the lecture and the rest of the students having their own activities. Zhao Liniu, Sun Jipang and Liang Shaoyang also went back to their dormitories to work on their live broadcasts. Qin Ming was thinking about how to explain to the owner of the takeaway shop that he was going to quit, but he had agreed to work for at least 2 months, so it would be unkind to the takeaway shop if he suddenly left. At this moment, Li Meng deliberately clung to Yang Wei and said loudly, honey, get up, where are we going to eat later? Really, I'm so sick of being stinky all afternoon. And quat. Li Meng's voice was particularly loud and sweet, the same way she used to talk to Qin Ming, who told Yang Wei to be rich, a Burberry hipster, also wearing a gold watch, an Audi keychain just hanging roughly on his waist, lest others not see it as if it was a secret show of wealth. Qin Ming looked gloomy, not bothering to deal with it, and got up to leave. Li Meng has been watching this side, saw the opportunity, loudly mocked, oh, Qin Ming, stand up for what? Are you out of your mind? We've already broken up, I'm calling out for my darling, I'm calling out for Ah Wei, not you, what are you doing? Really, the sour smell of this rancid food has been smelling me all afternoon, it's disgusting. And quat. Some of the students who hadn't left yet looked on with a burst of amusement, because in the past, Li Meng really pulled Qin Ming to call him darling after class, and then went to dinner together, like glue. Now the person has changed and Qin Ming seems to have not come back to his senses and expressed his love wrongly. Qin Ming saw Li Meng become this way, the more disgusting, she does not disgust us, a day is not satisfied? Qin Ming is not a soft persimmon to be rubbed, you provoke me, you can blame me for being merciless. He said painfully, Yang Wei, we are a hometown, I broke up with Li Meng, I hope you treat him better, after all, I have loved her. And quat. The students heard, Qin Ming this how suddenly sat up? He was also so sad that he was so silky. Some students said disdainfully hey, coward, dumped and still licking? And quat. Zhao Fugi sneered, a real man should find a prettier girlfriend, what a loser. And quat. Yang Wei was pleased with himself and said, nonsense, Li Meng made the right choice to follow me, what good would it be to be with a poor man like you? And quat. Qin Ming said sadly, Li Meng likes to sleep naked, she gets cold easily in the middle of the night, so you have to get used to covering her up, and do that time, you have to pay attention to her body, right? Oh, today is the 8th, her period came, physical inconvenience, before she is for me to use the mouth, if too hard throat discomfort, I usually buy him mint flavored throat lozenges, and, this car, although the car condition is well maintained, but the lower exhaust dark, burning oil phenomenon serious, the peak of the motive, but pulling the cylinder serious, 30 minutes after the lower exhaust out of water, the cylinder direct injection. Qin Ming gave a speech, and finally even used an online paragraph, but the person was dumbfounded. Fuck you. Li Meng heard the trembling, grabbed a book and threw it over, this dead man Qin Ming, shaking out the two of them in the past, but also prefer to say to Yang Wei. Yang Wei then really dislike her broken shoes what to do? When Qin Ming said this, the plot immediately reversed, and the students, who were supposed to be watching the joke, were happy. Haha, Li Meng didn't expect you to be such a person. Qin Ming, you're so bad. TSK, Yang Wei, you bought this second-hand car, it's too bad. Yang Wei was depressed. For the second time today, he was on the verge of being labeled as a shoe picker, but he had just gotten together with Li Meng. It was impossible to break up immediately, after spending more than 10,000 and breaking up before a single shot. Yang Wei threatened in shame, shut up, Qin Ming, I'm warning you, I have plenty of money, if you mess with my girlfriend again, I won't let you off even if you're from the same town, we'll see. Qin Ming snorted coldly, who's messing with who? I'm not one to be messed with either. Chapter 4. Qin Ming quit his part-time job and will no longer work part-time in the evenings delivering takeaways and watching the door at the bar. At the same time, he also called a takeaway back, so he made do with this meal tonight. Qin Ming had just finished paying the bill with his mobile phone when he happened to have a text message, which was actually a group text message from the badminton club he joined. Everyone, gather at Chin Lu immediately, someone is buying a big meal. Chin Lu is an independent restaurant inside the China Provincial University of Technology. Consumption is relatively high class. When receiving school leaders, they all go there to eat. General students will also occasionally go to Chin Lu to improve the food. There are 10 members in the group, all of them chanting words like "Long live the President" and "Quat." Only Qin Ming replied directly, "President, I have something to do tonight, I won't come." And "Quat." This kind of dinner he went very embarrassing, because Qin Ming is very poor, he is in the badminton club, no jersey, no racket, is responsible for picking up the ball, clean up the field, buy water the first person. The status is very low. Before the club dinner he was the type of tea and water. But in the past, the spirit of free food and drink, suffer a little aggravation, just go, save some money to buy lipstick for Li Meng. But now it's different, he's rich and doesn't need to condescend to dawdle with food and drink anymore. But in the club group, Zhang Qingqing immediately became angry. Qin Ming, what do you mean? I ordered you to come, why don't you come? There are so many people and you have to take care of them? You're not satisfied with the food and drinks? You have 5 minutes to arrive, or you will be punished. And Quat. Qin Ming laughed disdainfully, not bothering to pay attention. However, Qin Ming walked 2 steps, but very coincidentally ran into Zhang Qingqing and other girls from the badminton club. Only then did Qin Ming realize that this road happened to be the way to Qin Building. What a coincidence. Zhang Qingqing saw Qin Ming and said, "Oh, you've arrived so soon? Why are you still wearing the clothes of the dining hall? TSK, it's dirty and smells like it." And Quat. Qin Ming was really helpless about this. He had classes all afternoon. How could he change his clothes? He said, "I came here as soon as I heard your message, so I didn't have time to change." And Quat. When Zhang Qingqing heard that, she was not angry anymore and was satisfied. "Well, you are obedient. When did I, Zhang Qingqing, ever treat the members of the club badly? Every time you come out to eat and drink with us, have you ever asked for money? Here, help me hold my bag, this is a 1V bag, don't get it dirty for me." And Quat. Saying that, a few girls next to Zhang Qingqing followed suit and threw their carry-on bags to Qin Ming to carry. Qin Ming is passive to take over, is about to make, he should not give you Zhang Qingqing carry bags in the future. Suddenly a light fragrance came, badminton club inside, the only girl with him a good relationship, Ni Haitong, she fell behind smiling and looking at him. Ni Haitong is a sophomore in the business school, pure and beautiful, the standard school flower, more beautiful than the TV actress quite a few. It is said that the boys pursuing her, even the other universities are many. Ni Haitong giggled, a smile that could have charmed countless men, and said, "Qin Ming, why don't you know how to refuse Qing every time? Carrying her bag for her every time." And Quat. "I'm used to it." And Quat. Qin Ming smiled helplessly, he used to dawdle with food and drinks, how dare he refuse? Just now he wanted to refuse, but Zhang Qingqing was already far away. Ni Haitong said, "What do you think is going on tonight? It's really important, I'll tell you about it, it's important." And Quat. "The important thing tonight is of course doing homework." Damn old he had assigned a whole bunch of high maths exercises. But when he saw Ni Haitong, Qin Ming was in an inexplicably happy mood, and the gloom of his lost love was much less, so he simply said, "Seeing you makes me want to go again." And Quat. Ni Haitong's pretty face flushed and her small mouth hummed, "Sweet mouth and slippery tongue, You have a girlfriend and you still come to tease me ? And quat. Qin Ming blushed. She dumped me and got together with a rich kid from my hometown. We broke up. And quat. When he thought of Li Meng, Qin Ming's sadness of lost love was like that cracked great aunt again. He couldn't stop the wow. He had been with Li Meng for 2 years. He did give his heart, but his heart was eaten by dogs. His eyes welled up with sadness. Ni Haitong raised her eyebrows. She could see Qin Ming's sadness. She was about to ask a few more questions when suddenly Zhang Qingqing greeted Xiao Tang. Why haven't you come over yet? TSK, Qin Ming, don't pester our Xiao Tang all the time. You don't even look at your status. You want to make things difficult for yourself, don't you? Come on, Xiao Tang, give him the bag and let's go. And quat. Zhang Qingqing was afraid of being late, so she dragged Ni Haitong away, and Qin Ming carried an extra bag. He shook his head. It was better to hide his current fortune as he would participate in badminton club activities in the future, or have a bit of peace and convenience. Qin Lu, the exclusive private room with 2 large tables, was very lively. Zhang Qingqing arranged all the people, got up and pressed his hand. The surrounding members of the society are very cooperative and quiet. Zhang Qingqing had a book of satisfaction on her face at this time. She enjoyed this feeling of being a human being very much. However, she was surprised to see that Ni Haitong was sitting next to Qin Ming, and Qin Ming's clothes were an eyesore. She frowned and said, Xiao Tang, sit here with me. And quat. Ni Haitong said, it doesn't matter where you sit, the one who's coming is a handsome guy, right? I won't steal your thunder either. And quat. Zhang Qingqing thought to herself, she likes the guy waiting for her, but Ni is so pretty, so she should keep a low profile. The moment he entered, he was holding the keys to an Audi car, which attracted the attention of many people. The young man said loudly, hello everyone, I am Zhao Tuo of the Electrical Engineering College. Because I lost to Zhang Qingqing in badminton, men are willing to gamble to concede. Invite everyone to dinner. Today what dishes feel free to order, what wine feel free to drink, count on my account. And quat. Good. Everyone was up in arms, expressing their gratitude. The food at Qin Lu was expensive and delicious, so of course everyone was happy that someone was treating them. However, Zhang Qingqing immediately went forward and grabbed Zhao Tuo's hand, saying TSK, Zhao Tuo, what's that in your hand? Did you buy a car? An Audi? And quat. Zhao Tuo's heart was happy and he said lightly, yes, the new Audi A6, I wanted to keep a low profile and buy an A4, but the sales shop said I had to wait a month for the A6 to be in stock, so there was no way I could keep a low profile. Ha ha ha. And quat. Zhang Qingqing said, wow, you can take me for a ride later. And quat. Zhao Tuo agreed 100 times, he bought this Audi, isn't it just to act tough? He wanted to pick up Zhang Qingqing for a long time, but Zhang Qingqing has a high vision, not to be bored without blood money. He deliberately lost the badminton game, so he could get a reason to treat himself, and then show off his new car to give Zhang Qingqing face, but also to satisfy his own vanity, but also to charm Zhang Qingqing in a fog. Zhao Tuo had just sat down when he suddenly wrinkled his nose and wondered, what's wrong? Why does this VIP room smell like rancid food? And quat. The people looked at Qin Ming in unison, because Qin Ming's clothes hadn't changed since noon. It really smelled a bit too much. Didn't they see that except for Ni Haitong, everyone else was 2 body lengths away from Qin Ming? The name was that he was there to serve the food, but in fact they were hiding from him. Who is he? Zhao Tuo asked in wonder. A waiter? Is there a waiter in your club? So lowly? And quat. Zhang Qingqing blushed. She had lost face. She didn't expect Qin Ming's clothes to smell so bad. If she let Zhao Tuo think that everyone she knew was poor, she would be looked down upon, and if she had to establish a relationship with Zhao Tuo in the future, she would become vulnerable and even be looked down upon. Zhang Qingqing was also angry and scolded, Qin Ming, what's wrong with you? You stink of acid and you still have the nerve to dawdle with food and drink here. Why don't you hurry up and wash up and come back? And quat. Qin Ming was speechless. He had said from the beginning that he was not coming. It was you who wanted me to carry your bag so that you could show your noble posture as an old Buddha, and now you dislike people. He also remained silent, got up and left. After Qin Ming went out, he cursed and said, it's bad luck, I threw away the takeaway I had packed. It wasted 12 yuan of my money. And quat. Qin Ming, you wait for me. And quat. Qin Ming had not taken a few steps when he heard someone call him from behind, but it was Ni Haitong, who came out after him with her bag. Qin Ming was surprised and said, Haitong, why aren't you eating? And quat. Ni Haitong nuzzled her lips angrily and said, I'm not happy. If I'm not happy, I don't want to eat. Qin Ming knew that Ni Haitong was angry with himself for being called and driven away, but he was used to it. He said, you don't have to be like this. And quat. But Ni Haitong didn't want to talk about it and asked as she walked away, let's not talk about that. Qin Ming, did you really get dumped? I heard that you worked 3 jobs a day for your girlfriend, scrubbing dishes, looking after the door and delivering takeaways, just to buy her a new Apple phone. You were so sincere. How could she do this to you? And quat. Qin Ming said sadly, people have their own aspirations, and it's useless to be sincere if you follow me through a hard life. I don't blame her, after all, the woman I loved. I'm just more angry with myself. Why am I so slow to earn money? If I could earn more money, she would be happier, right? And quat. Ni Haitong looked at the side of Qin Ming's face and was touched by his words. What an infatuated man. He was actually not cynical after being dumped. She reached out and patted Qin Ming's shoulder, smiled crookedly and said, don't be discouraged, tomorrow will be better. I think you look very handsome when you work hard to buy gifts for your girlfriend. In this society nowadays, you should keep your heart of gold. You will definitely be successful in the future. And quat. Qin Ming felt better after listening to Ni Haitong's enlightenment. He let out a long breath and said, okay, Miss Ni enlightened me, I have to repay the favor. Let's go to the Dengfeng restaurant outside the University City. It's a 3 Michelin star restaurant. It's excellent. And quat. Ni Haitong crossed her arms in a naive, reprimanding manner and asked TSK, so willing to spend money on me? You've only just fallen out of love and you want to pick me up? Man are really big pig hoofs. And quat. Qin Ming thought she was angry and hastened to explain, no, it's not that. I just want to have a good restaurant to match you. Can't I take you to a roadside stall? Your clothes are worth a lot of money. Won't the stalls take away your status? And quat. Ni Haitong looked at Qin Ming's nervous explanation and giggled, saying, come on, I'm teasing you. I don't care where I go, it's cheap and clean. Ah, let's go too. And quat. The first time I saw a message on it, my face turned bad. Oh no, something happened to Ching Ching and the girls. And quat. Chapter 5. Qin Ming said in surprise, what could have happened to the president and his wife? Isn't that Zhao Tuo very rich? Can't they afford to pay the bill? And quat. Ni Haitong smiled helplessly and said, it's true. And quat. She pressed the WeChat voice, and Zhang Qingqing's nervous recording came out. Shou Tang, you're not far away, are you? Come back quickly to save the day. That Zhao Tuo is such a loser. His dad caught him before he even started. He stole his dad's money to buy an Audi car and now he's been arrested. These 2 tables, and 3 bottles of 92 Lafite red wine, a total of 88,000. I dare not ask my family for money anymore. And quat. Qin Ming listened to the voiceover and felt that this kind of thing was really dramatic. Zhao Tuo had left, so the person who was going to call for a treat was Zhang Qingqing. So the bill naturally fell on her head, although Zhang Qingqing was from a good family, but suddenly taking out 88,000, she was going to be killed by her family. But these people had eaten 88,000 yuan for a meal, that was too rich, right? It was like treating that Zhao Tuo like a fat sheep to slaughter. Ni Haitong and Qin Ming had to go back again, and at that moment, in the private room, several security guards surrounded the badminton club students, with the attitude that if you all opened such an expensive wine but couldn't afford to pay, then don't even think about leaving. The 2 tables of steaming dishes, but no one dared to move. When Zhang Qingqing saw that Ni Haitong had returned, she was as happy as if she had seen a savior, crying and hugging Ni Haitong. You're finally here. You can lend me $88,000 first, I'll pay you back later. And quat. Ni Haitong hugged her best friend and said soothingly, okay, it's okay, I'm here, I'll pay the bill first, then we can eat together. And quat. Ni Haitong frowned and took out 2 other black cards from her purse. The cashier tinkered for a while, but still shook her head. Sorry miss, these 2 cards can't be used either. And quat. This time Ni Haitong was not calm anymore. She took out her mobile phone and made a call, and went to the side to talk quietly. The manager, who thought she could settle the bill, was depressed again and couldn't help but curse. TSK, college students nowadays are really, don't pretend to be rich if you don't have money, and open such expensive wine. In the end it's the parents who suffer. And quat. The waitress at the side also said, no, the food is not expensive, it's just 3 bottles of 92 Lafite. Just now I asked them if they wanted to wait for a while before opening. They insisted on opening it right away, now they regret it, right? What's the point of pretending if you don't have money? It's a disgrace. And quat. The female manager looked at Qin Ming next to her and said, hey, you're new here, aren't you? What are you looking at? Hurry up and go clean up room number 2. Another VIP guest will be here soon. And quat. Qin Ming was depressed. His clothes were a bit easy to misunderstand. However, he looked at the way Ni Haitong was getting more and more anxious after making that phone call, so he guessed it was hopeless. Ni Haitong's family is well off, and the money is also given by the family, so it is estimated that something has happened. He took out his own bank card and said, sorry, I'm not your employee, swipe my card. And quat. The female manager was immediately displeased. Hey, are you tossing us around? A rich man left, a rich woman came, but also no money. You are dressed as a waiter, how much money can you have? And quat. Qin Ming said impatiently, you mean you won't charge? And quat. The female manager has seen a lot of rich people. Looking at Chin Ming's dirtbag waitress dress, disdainful said Ali, "Give him a brush. I see can brush a 800 knot. Really, nowadays college students are really laughable. One by one without money to learn, people equipped with money, quite enjoyable. You guys just don't know how to be down to earth. This is the pompous wind of society, and quat. Drop, payment successful. And quat." The female manager hadn't finished. She heard the mechanical sound coming from the POS machine. Her whole body was dumbfounded. 88,000, swiped. The female manager, the waitress, the cashier girl, suddenly the way they all looked at Chin Ming changed, became shocked, became incredulous, became ambiguous. Such a young college student, wearing the clothes of a waiter, so low-key, casually swiping 88,000, not taking the card back seriously. The way he pursed his lips and winked was so handsome. The first time the cashier girl took her mobile phone to find Chin Ming handsome man. Is there a WeChat ? And quat. This is to add WeChat to make friends. But Chin Ming had just lost his love and was not interested, so he politely declined. That handsome guy, I'm sorry. And quat. The manageress is also experienced. She hurriedly apologized and smacked herself in the mouth. I can't spit out the ivory from my dog's mouth. Handsome man, don't be common sense with such a rude person. You are a well-read college student. Your stomach can hold the boat. Ha. And quat. Chin Wei gave her a look and said, okay, tell the girl later that the machine data is delayed and your card swipe was successful. And quat. The female manager's head nodded like a chicken pecking rice. Chin Ming actually did not want to help Zhang Qingqing, but he did not want to see Ni Haitong because of this small amount of money. Difficult look. She is now the hope of all the badminton club. Should shine like a goddess. Of the many companies he inherited from Chang Hongxi, a quarterly profit of 345 billion, $88,000 is really not much different from 88 cents. Moreover, Zhang Qingqing would pay Ni Haitong back later, and he didn't hate the fact that Ni Haitong had gotten the 88,000 for nothing. Ni Haitong returned from the phone call, her white face, written full of gloom. Apparently the money matter she did not do. She was about to speak that, too, and quat. The female manager hurriedly bowed and said, miss, just now the machine malfunctioned. The original has been swiped successfully. The bill has been cleared. You can rest assured. Dining. I'm sorry to have disturbed you for so long, and as a token of our apologies, we will be serving you each a dessert. And quat. Huh? But, and quat. Ni Haitong wondered. Her bank card had been frozen by her family. How could there be such a thing as a delay? She wanted to ask for clarification, but at this time, Zhang Qingqing and the girls came out. Zhang Qingqing hugged Ni Haitong excitedly. Xiao Tang, my good sister, thanks to you. Great, you are the one who has the solution. And quat. Sister Haitong is so powerful. And quat. Yes, so rich. And quat. Don't you know? Miss Ni is a class rich girl. And quat. Anyway, thanks to Haitong this time, we're saved. And quat. Ni Haitong was led into the private room like the stars, while Chin Ming didn't go in. He didn't even go in. Later Zhang Qingqing would say, you stink of rancid food, why haven't you come back clean? So Chin Ming was going to have a real-life park with her? Chin Ming wanted to leave, but someone forbade him to do so. Zhang Qingqing turned around and saw him, immediately pushed the crowd away and shouted, hey, Chin Ming, why are you still here? Do you want to dine out so badly? TSK. Didn't I tell you to go back and wash up before coming back? Why are you still in this outfit? And quat. Chin Ming sighed and said, President, I'll just go. And quat. Zhang Qingqing said arrogantly, don't leave if you're here, Humph, you're also from the badminton club. I mean, who's going to carry the bags when you leave? Today's meal is thanks to Xiao Tang. You wait well for Xiao Tang, you know? And quat. Chin Ming a tilt of the head, serve Ni Haitong? How a wait. The badminton club re-entered the scene, while the food was still cold, one by one, a big mouthful of meat, a big mouthful of wine, the atmosphere gradually lively again. Chin Ming also learnt that the so-called serving was actually helping Ni Haitong to block the drinks of whoever toasted him. After a round of drinks, Chin Ming drank at least one bottle of Lafite wine by himself. The more he drank, the stronger he became. After all, alcohol could numb his nerves and make him forget about his lost love for a while. The more he drank, the more he cried, and the more he drank, and before he knew it he was drunk and asleep. He didn't know how long had passed, but Chin Ming rubbed his head and woke up slowly, and now he was lying, as if on someone's lap, soft and with a faint fragrance. Hey, what's going on? I'm actually drunk? Chin Minru said with astonishment. I'm actually drunk on a mere glass of red wine? And quat. Suddenly, a small finger tapped Chin Ming's forehead, only to hear Ni Haitong's delicate voice, because you're stupid. You blocked everyone who gave me a toast, in addition to 3 bottles of the most expensive 92 Lafite red wine, and a bottle of high number of Hennessy XO, not drunk is strange. And quat. Qin Ming said in surprise. Ah? Zhang Qingqing's bunch of animals. Why did they order so much wine? And quat. Ni Haitong spat out her tongue and said, who knows, they probably wanted to kill that Zhao Tuo. But as a result, they killed you. And quat. Upon hearing these words, Qin Ming's eyes snapped open and he sobered up considerably. He tilted his head to look and saw first two breasts with just the right amount of breeding wrapped in a thin green shirt, then Ni Haitong's long black hair hanging down, followed by her upside down face. So, he was lying on Ni Haitong's lap. No wonder the legs were so soft, and no wonder the person smelled so good. He immediately got up and looked around the room. There was no one else there, only him and Ni Haitong were left. Ni Haitong smiled, nuzzled her chin and said, because I wanted to make sure that you paid the $88,000 for me. My bank card was frozen, so I couldn't have swiped it. Qin Ming didn't expect Ni Haitong to be so stubborn and serious, so he had to admit it and said, I did it. I didn't want to see their expectations of you fall through. You deserve to respond to their expectations. And quat. Ni Haitong's face flushed, so it was because of herself that Qin Ming had paid. She covered her slightly nervous chest with her small hand and asked, Aren't you very poor? How come you have so much money? And quat. Qin Ming thought for a moment, but instead of directly stating that he had inherited an astronomical inheritance, he lied and said, I forgot my major. I'm a senior student in economics, and I've had a lot of exposure to finance. I've been speculating in stocks recently. Hongxing Technology has been rising for a month straight. I just sold it today and made $100,000. And quat. Ni Haitong asked, you gave so much and they don't know you saved them. And quat. Qin Ming smiled plainly, I don't care. I just don't want to see you in a difficult situation. And quat. Ni Haitong's heart rejoiced and she bit her cherry lips happily as she said, don't worry, I will remember what you have given. When Qingqing pays back the money later, I will pay you back immediately. And quat. Qin Ming just smiled. He didn't care, right? In fact, because of this matter, he had to sleep on Ni Haitong's lap for a few hours. He thought it was worth it. Because Ni Haitong was one of the 3 school beauties of their Hua Province University of Technology, it was usually rare for guys to have a chance to say a few words to her. Chapter 6. The next morning, as he had no classes in the morning, he took a comfortable shower and the rancid vegetable sour smell was finally gone from his body. He had to do his macroeconomics paper report today, so he packed up his things and headed for the library. The university library was crowded. After all, not everyone came to school to mingle like Yang Wei and Li Meng, and exams had to be settled by sending money. Qin Ming soon sank down to finish his homework, but he always had to go through some materials and came back to walk back and forth when he didn't have enough. After walking around a few times, he noticed how there was an extra delicate cake in his seat. Qin Ming looked around, but no one was spying on him, so who could have given him an expensive cake? Qin Ming thought, could it be from Ni Haitong? I had a nice chat with her yesterday. Does she want to see me today? And quat. Qin Ming hadn't actually eaten breakfast, but since he was in his seat, he didn't hesitate to take a couple of bites, which were moderately sweet and creamy, with an excellent taste. In 3 bites, Qin Ming quickly finished it, and in order not to waste it, he even took the plastic at the bottom of the pad and licked it. Suddenly, a long and pretty girl came along and she broke down and screamed, who are you? My golden McTerry cake. Why are you stealing my cake? And quat. Qin Ming's heart twitched. Hadn't someone else given him this? The girl pointed at Qin Ming in anger. You're still licking it? How poor are you? Stealing other people's food. Haven't you ever seen such a superb silk? And quat. Qin Ming was embarrassed and hurriedly explained, no, that, you misunderstood, classmate. In fact, and quat. The first time I saw a cake, I stole it and ate it, right? And quat. Qin Ming raised his eyebrows. Wasn't that guy Zhao Fugui, who was in his class? Zhao Fugui was a rich young man who had a good relationship with Yang Wei and usually looked down on him in a condescending manner, and he was laughing the most when he was ridiculed for the sour taste of the rancid food yesterday. Zhao Fugui said, this person is from our class. His family is very poor. He works part-time every day. He is late for class. He can't even change his clothes. Now he comes to the library to pretend to work hard. It turns out that he stole someone's dessert for breakfast. Really, poor people are short of ambition. And quat. The pretty girl gave a disgusted expression after hearing this. TSK. And quat. The other students who were quietly doing their homework were also disturbed and each looked up at Qin Ming. Wow, what a pervert, actually stealing someone else's cake. And quat. Why study if you're so poor and don't go to work? And quat. Isn't he the one who ran into his girlfriend cheating on him yesterday when he was working in the dining hall? And quat. Oh, it's true that poor people are cheap. It's not for no reason that they got dumped. And quat. The people around were all pointing at Qin Ming as soon as Zhao Fugui brought up the tempo. Qin Ming did not want to pay attention to this Zhao Fugui, and explained to the pretty girl, but classmate, this cake was placed in my place, I thought, and quat. The girl immediately exploded. What's your place? You stole food and still have so many sophomoric excuses? I obviously put it here, so far away from your place, and my water glass is still here. Do you know that this golden maiqui is limited every day? One serving costs more than $100. Even if you have money you may not be able to eat it. Do you know how long I have waited in line? ? And quat. Hearing this, Qin Ming knew something was wrong. If this girl's cake was as she said, not placed in Qin Ming's as, then who was up to no good? Qin Ming looked towards that Zhao Fu Gui, who seemed to be trying desperately to hold back his laughter. It was a pity that there were no cameras in this study room in the library, otherwise the truth would have come out, and right now Qin Ming had no way to prove himself. He shook his head and said as he took out his wallet, "Classmate, I'll just give you the money." And quat. But Qin Ming took out his wallet and counted a pile of change on both sides, but it turned out to be only $67, and the change was also dirty, which was not enough to compensate. Seeing Qin Ming with a pile of change is not enough to compensate, Zhao Fugi finally could not hold back. PFFT ha ha ha, this poor sour laughs me to death. Also compensation, match a fart. And quat. Some other students also looked at laughing. Stealing food and still denying it, compensation and not enough money, this is a real joke. And quat. Aya, isn't that Chen Mulin from the business school? She's a little pepper, a hot personality, a rich white girl who doesn't even put the king of heaven in her eyes. And quat. Maybe it's a new way to pick up girls. Only Chen Mulin doesn't fall for it. Ha ha ha. And quat. If I were him, I'd really find a crack to burrow into. And quat. This guy is so thick-skinned. And quat. When Chen Mulin heard someone talking about her, she was also furious, saying I haven't seen such a poor person in these days. He doesn't have even $100 on his body, and he doesn't admit that he stole my breakfast. It makes me sick. And quat. The first thing he said was that he had eaten someone's cake and he was in the wrong, but he still had more than 400,000 in his card. When he saw Qin Ming handing over the money, Chen Mulin raised her hand and scattered the money all over the place. I've never used cash under $100. I don't want your dirty money. And quat. Chen Mulin took 2 steps back in disgust and angrily scolded, I don't want you to pay for it. I'm already sick and tired of you. It's only $100 or so. I'll take it as a hit on the barker. And quat. Qin Ming didn't blame Chen Mulin, she was also a victim, and the culprit should be Zhao Fugi, who deliberately put Chen Mulin's cake in his place. But he had no evidence to prove that Zhao Fu Gui had done it. They laughed at Qin Ming and could not prove anything. At this moment, a young female teacher came over and scolded, this is the library, what's all this noise? Those who are making a ruckus should go out. And quat. When she saw the teacher coming, Chen Mulin became even louder. Teacher, this guy, who doesn't have money to buy breakfast, stole my breakfast and refused to admit it when he was found out. And quat. And Qin Ming was bending down to pick up the money on the ground. Qin Ming defended, teacher, I didn't, the cake was in my place when I came back with my books. I thought someone else had given it to me. And quat. Chen Mulin was furious and said mockingly, don't be silly, I still have the small ticket. You're a real bitch for stealing food and not admitting it. I don't care about a cake, but when you breathe air in the same library as him, I feel angry. And quat. She looked at Qin Ming was picking up the change on the floor. There were actually 5 10-cents. These days, not to mention 10 cents, a dollar dropped on the floor. People are still too dirty to pick it up. How poor is this guy? The female teacher more or less believed Chen Mulin's words in her heart. She coldly waved her hand at Qin Ming and said, this is the first time I've seen such a shameless student. One can be poor, but one can't have no ambition. Pack up your books right now and get out of the library. You are not allowed to come in for a month. And quat. Qin Ming finished picking up the money and was helplessly kicked out of the library. He couldn't fight with the teacher to prove himself, could he? But when he saw Zhao Fugi's villainous face and making faces at him to provoke him, Qin Ming didn't even need to think about it. He must have taken advantage of the time he went to pick out the books to make secret mischief. He was kicked out of the library for nothing. Qin Ming was indignant. Do you really think I, Qin Ming, can't fix you? And quat. Qin Ming took out his mobile phone and sent a text message to Song Ying, who was on standby at the Yunshan Villa Manor. There is a guy called Zhao Fugi in my class. He is now in my school library. Teach him a little lesson right now and break his right hand. And quat. Song Ying's message was returned in almost seconds. Yes, young master. And quat. Qin Ming had just finished his message when he saw Zhao Fugi walking out with one of his little brothers. Zhao Fu Gui mocked proudly, ha 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 ha, Qin Ming, you stinking silk, you should have guessed that I did it, right? That's right, I did it, ha ha ha. And quat. The more Zhao Fu Gui laughed, the more arrogant he became, spitting his tongue and making faces, twisting his buttocks to stimulate Qin Ming. Qin Ming's face was covered with frost as he questioned, Zhao Fugi, I have no grudge against you, why are you trying to fix me? To avenge Yang Wei's death? And quat. Zhao Fu Gui sneered, ha 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 ha, silly, isn't your kind of silk a source of joy for me every day at school? Look at what you're wearing. What you're using, it's so classless, but it's just right for me to have fun and relieve my boredom. What's wrong with me? Are you capable of getting back at me? You're just an ant. I can do whatever I want. And quad. It's a lot of fun to play with a poor, stinking silk like you to beat the clock. And quad. The embarrassed look you had just now when you pulled out a bunch of change and still didn't have enough money. Ouch. Ha ha ha. Laughing my ass off. Not even $100 all over. Ha ha ha. And quad. Zhao Fugi laughed with his little brother, and even put his face in a cheap way, saying, are you angry? Hit me, huh? You pussy, stinky silk, ha ha ha. Isn't it your last rationalization that tells you that you're a poor man and can't afford to mess with a rich kid like me? Hey, I love to see your kind of stinking silk incompetent rage. You don't even dare to fight when you're told to, wimp. And quad. Chen Ming couldn't stand it anymore. He raised his hand and was about to fling a slap over. Snort tilde. Suddenly a sharp black Mercedes PV outside the school road did a drift, the tires grinding out a few black marks, and then landed impartially right in front of the three. The car door slashed open, and a thick arm reached out, grabbed Zhao Fugi's back collar, and pulled him into the car. Boom! The gas went off, and the Mercedes-Benz PV went away again, and did not go more than 10 meters, only to hear a who are you? My dad is, my hand. And quad. Then the door of the Mercedes PV opened again, and on the way, Zhao Fugi was thrown out and then took off. It was only a dozen seconds before and after. The company's followers only came back to their senses and were so scared that they walked over quickly. Brother Fugi, what happened to you? Is there anyone who can help? And quad. At the same time, a message and 3 pictures came from Chen Ming's mobile phone. The first accompanying picture was of Zhao Fugi's surprised expression as he was suddenly grabbed inside the carriage. The second picture was of Zhao Fugi's right hand being broken by a big burly man with his bare hands, and the third picture was of Zhao Fugi being thrown out of the car. The final picture was accompanied by Song Ying's words, young master, mission accomplished. And quad. Chen Ming smiled lightly. Song Ying was really efficient. Chen Ming was just about to put his phone away when another message came through. Chen Ming, come to the badminton court for the club activity right away. And quad. Chen Ming frowned. He was asked to pick up the ball again and deliver water and towels? No way. He replied directly that he would not be going. However, before he could take 2 steps, his phone vibrated again, and this time it was Ni Haitong who sent him a message. Come on, let's play together. And quad. Chapter 7. Because of Ni Haitong's message, Chen Ming carried his shoulder bag and still arrived at this side of the sports ground. The sun was shining, many students were sweating their youth, and there were some lewd men lying outside the iron fence, secretly taking pictures of the pretty girls as they exercised. Usually Chen Ming didn't bother to care, there were too many such things. But today, these men were now secretly taking pictures of Ni Haitong. TSK, schoolgirl Ni has changed into a new sports uniform today, and I wonder who she's showing it to? Her long legs are so white, this waistline is so thin, this face is so pretty, it's satisfying to talk to her. Hey, who's got my DSLR camera? A certain lecherous man was drooling and viewing the photos when his camera was snatched away directly from behind Chen Ming. The 3 photographers around him immediately quit, and they surrounded Chen Ming, saying angrily, who are you? A messenger of justice? It's not illegal to take pictures in a public place. And quad. Chen Ming looked at the photos, all of which were of Ni Haitong, and he said angrily, how much is it? A lecherous man next to him sneered, huh? Aren't you the guy who usually delivers takeaways to our dormitory? And quad. The guy who was robbed of his camera said disdainfully, ha, you're even silkier than us, you can afford my SLR? I took out a loan for 4 years to buy it, the original price is 28,000 yuan. You can afford to buy it? Quickly give me back my camera, or I'll call someone. And quad. Chen Ming took out the 3 stacks of banknotes from his shoulder bag and threw them at the man's face, saying angrily, take the money and get out, and don't take pictures of Ni Haitong in the future, or I'll beat you up once I see you. And quad. I know, I'll just film others in the future. And quad. The lecherous man was shocked by the 30,000 yuan thrown at his face, then he quickly picked up the money on the ground and walked away without letting out a single fart, nodding his head and bowing. The other 2 guys took a look and said, damn, the old machine is estimated to cost over 30,000 yuan, the original price of the old machine, and the net profit of 2,000? That's too much money, isn't it? He was obviously dressed poorer than them, and even silk, but he had a trenchant air. Brother, I'm shooting Chen Mulin, do you want it? And quad. No, bro, my shot of Zhang Qingqing is pretty too, she has a big ass and several bottomless photos. And quad. The 2 men were scrambling to sell their cameras and photos, but Chen Ming was not interested in them and said, get lost. And quad. I don't know why, but Chen Ming didn't want Ni Haitong's photos to be obtained by these lewd people, so he bought them, even though they were just ordinary photos from sports, but he just didn't want them. He had an unexplainable feeling in his heart. Qin Ming said, "I'm here, aren't I?" And quat. Zhang Qingqing was furious and said, "Humphrey, who told you to talk back to me then? Cut the crap and go pick up the ball." And quat. A boy suddenly appeared. Badminton Club. Fang Jinsheng loudly scolded, "Hey, wait, President, Qin Ming, he secretly filmed you. Look at him with a camera in his hand." And quat. When they heard the word secretly filming, everyone on the court was energized. This is not something ordinary people can do. It's only those disgusting lewd people who can do it. You tilde. Zhang Qingqing immediately threw away her racket and blocked her chest with both hands. She said disgustedly, "Qin Ming, you shameless silk, thanks to I usually treat you well, invite you to scold and drink, no society wants you, I am the one who took you in, you actually do such shameless things? Are you still a human being?" And quat. One of the girls who arrived later asked, "A sneak peek? Oh, how disgusting. Who's taking pictures? That's disgraceful." And quat. Fang Jinsheng pointed at Qin Ming and said, "Qin Ming, I just said why he didn't come to pick up the ball so late today, so he arrived early and was secretly taking pictures of the president's skirt." And quat. Another club boy came over and said, "What, sneaking under the president's skirt? Who is so daring? Who's so daring? I'll beat him to death. Who is it?" And quat. Fang Jinsheng added, "That poor bastard Qin Ming. He even lied to the president in the group that he was not coming, but he secretly took pictures. He is really a lying, surreptitious demon." And quat. In a short while, everyone gathered around Qin Ming. "Qin Ming, don't you want to live anymore? Why don't you just be the president's dog properly? There's food and drink for you, and you still want to attempt to climb up the ladder? The president is a rich white woman. Is it something you can afford to climb?" And quat. "Qin Ming, you really should be chemically castrated, then you won't have any distractions." And quat. "He's not still secretly filming the dorm, is he?" And quat. "What? Qin Ming still secretly films the girls' dormitory?" And quat. "What? Qin Ming also secretly took pictures of the girls in the shower?" And quat. "Ah, bring the camera, pervert, scum." And quat. The girls were most sensitive to this kind of secret filming and would never allow this kind of thing to happen to them, so they all gathered around Qin Ming, touching his body with their hands, rubbing their breasts against his body, and kissing him with their mouths. Qin Ming explained, "You misunderstood. This camera is someone else's. I did not steal photos." "Well, you calm down." And quat. A dozen people swarmed Qin Ming and pinned him to the ground. The DSLR camera was quickly snatched away. At this time, Ni Haitong, who was wearing a pink knee-length sports skirt, came over wiping her sweat and asked, "What's wrong? What is everyone doing around Qin Ming?" And quat. Fang Jinsheng looked at Ni Haitong after the exercise. Black long tied a ponytail. The slim sweatshirt shows her mature female figure. The waistline, long legs is the most beautiful. But Fang Jinsheng knew last night in the private room of Qin Lu that Ni Haitong was different from Qin Ming. Everyone disliked Qin Ming's sour smell, but she didn't, and ended up staying with him to get drunk and take care of him. Fang Jinsheng was jealous. How come that Silk who works part-time every day can be favored by a goddess? He, Fang Jinsheng, was from a good family, although he was not rich, but he was better than Qin Ming and could afford to buy a racket, right? If Qin Ming could, why couldn't he? Fang Jinsheng looked indignant and walked over to him, saying, "Ni Haitong, I didn't expect Qin Ming to be a hypocrite. He secretly filmed Zhang Qingqing and refused to admit it. He is also secretly filming the girls' dormitory. This person is really morally corrupt. Not to mention being poor, he also has no ambition and has a depraved mind." And quat. Ni Haitong was surprised and said, "No way, Qin Ming is not that kind of person. Is there any misunderstanding here?" And quat. Fang Jinsheng said loudly, "What misunderstanding is there? The physical evidence is all there and he's been subdued. He'll just have to wait for the school to sanction him." And quat. Ni Haitong looked at Zhang Qingqing and wondered if Qin Ming had bought the camera after he had made money from stock trading, and then wanted to take pictures to relieve stress because he had lost his love. She walked over to Zhang Qingqing and said, "Qingqing, what's going on?" And quat. Zhang Qingqing said angrily, "Qin Ming, this ill-bred wolf, how dare he secretly take pictures of me? How dare you take pictures of me? You don't even have to look in the mirror, look at his silky face. What about him is worthy of me? He's a toad who wants to eat a swan's flesh. You only deserve to carry my bag." And quat. The badminton club was all over Qin Ming, who raised his head and explained, "It's a misunderstanding. I didn't film you at all." And quat. Fang Jinsheng shouted a loud rebuke, seizing the right to speak, saying, "How dare you argue? The evidence is all here. President, just take a look at the photos inside, won't you? How can you say nothing more? Qin Ming, you're in trouble." And quat. Fang Jinsheng's heart was more than ecstatic. It was a godsend. Caught the handle of this Qin Ming. After today, Ni Haitong on his good feeling all gone. The president will also kick him out of the badminton club. he will not have the opportunity to contact Ni Haitong. Then his chances of pursuing Ni Haitong will be greater. Chapter 8. Fang Jinsheng was looking down on Qin Ming, and insulted him out of the corner of his eye. Look, I'm not slandering you, you don't even have the strength to refute it yourself. The evidence is all there. And quat. The others also said eagerly, yes, President, delete the photos of the girls' dormitory. If it gets out, how can we see others? And quat. In fact, Qin Ming was also afraid. He didn't know if the lecherous man who sold the camera had taken photos of the girls' dormitory. If there was, then he would have to take all these black pots. Zhang Qingqing clicked on the camera and checked the photos inside, which made her angry without looking, and even angrier after looking. It wasn't a sneak peek of her, it was a sneak peek of Ni Haitong. How could I not be attracted by your charm? Zhang Qingqing was originally a bit proud inside. She was the goddess of these silk, and Qin Ming, a stinky silk, was even stealing photos of her in order to jerk off. She was enjoying this feeling of being a queen. But it turned out that it wasn't her who took the photos, it was Ni Haitong, who was a rich girl, and he, Qin Ming, a stinky silk with no background and a poor family, really had the guts to eat a bear's heart. Zhang Qingqing finished looking at all the photos. There were no photos from the girls' dormitory, 80% were from the sports field, 20% were from the dining hall, all were photos of Ni Haitong. Zhang Qingqing was slightly embarrassed. She had just said so much, only to say that Qin Ming had illicit thoughts about her, when in fact, Qin Ming had illicit thoughts about Ni Haitong, not about her. Why do you look bad, President? Let me see. And quat. Wow, how come they're all of Xiao Tang? It's all very usual photos. And quat. Haitong is the recognized school beauty, it's normal to be secretly photographed. And quat. There are no photos from the girls' dormitory, they're all from public places. And quat. Hey, that doesn't change the nature of this extremely strange and smelly silk disgusting people. And quat. Several girls had looked at them all, and finally the DSLR camera landed in Ni Haitong's hands, and everyone looked at her, obviously thinking she was the biggest victim. Ni Haitong also looked at the photos and said actually, and quat. The first time I saw the camera, I was anxious and immediately said, how does it not count? The company's main business is to provide a wide range of products and services to the market. Qin Ming angrily broke away from the crowd and explained, I've said it all, I didn't take any photos. And quat. Zhang Qingqing scolded coldly, shut up. Even if it was Xiao Tang, it wouldn't work, you're just like a toad eating swan's flesh. Xiao Tang, this is your decision, what to do with him, you can say what you want, if you want to kill him or not, the sisters will support you. And quat. Ni Haitong was serious when she said actually, I asked Qin Ming to film it, he didn't film it secretly, he filmed it openly and honestly. And quat. What? And quat. Everyone was stunned and looked at Ni Haitong, as well as Qin Ming. Zhang Qingqing asked in confusion, Xiao Tang, why are you doing this? And quat. Ni Haitong spat out her tongue and said, I was just having fun and asked Qin Ming. And look, this is a DSLR camera, it costs 28,000 apiece, how can Qin Ming have the money? And quat. When Ni Haitong said this, the others nodded their heads in agreement. Yes, how can Qin Ming have the money for this silk? And quat. Oops, misunderstood him, but forget it, it doesn't matter to him anyway. And quat. Well, it's alright, let's go play ball. And quat. So it's an oops, but you can ask us if you like taking pictures, Xiao Tang. And quat. What do you know, isn't that what Qin Ming does? And quat. Qin Ming will go buy water later. And quat. Ha. And quat. With Ni Haitong's explanation, everyone else stopped counting. Qin Ming wanted to say the truth, but seeing that Ni Haitong had lied for him, he would just shut up for now. Fang Jinsheng frowned darkly and gave Qin Ming a fierce glare, saying count yourself lucky. And quat. Qin Ming saw that his innocence had been restored and tried to take back the camera, but Ni Haitong's hand shot back and she nuzzled her cherry lips, her eyes full of curiosity and questions, saying I helped you clear your name, don't you have anything to explain? And quat. Qin Ming explained I really didn't take the picture, it was someone else who took a picture of you, I got angry and I bought it. And quat. Ni Haitong asked, you're angry? Someone else filmed me and you were angry? Are you trying to chase me? And quat. Qin Ming was speechless, he was only acting as a basic concern between friends, where did Ni Haitong think he was going? He had just fallen out of love and didn't have any thoughts of a relationship at all. He wouldn't say anything, he simply said, I'll go and buy water for them. And quat. Looking at Qin Ming's back, Ni Haitong bristled, looked at his own picture and muttered, what's the big deal? And quat. When Qin Ming came back from buying water, Zhang Qingqing asked him to pick up the ball again, which Qin Ming didn't want to do, but since he was here, he had to take part in the club's activities. After he finished picking up the ball, he sat down to the side. He was also bored. Ni Haitong was angry with him when she came back from buying water, and even ignored him when he offered her water earlier. Qin Ming was also confused. Did he do something wrong? There was nothing to do, so he took out his mobile phone and put 10,000 yuan each into his father's and mother's bank accounts at home, leaving a message that he had earned it from his part-time job. Qin Ming was already very rich, but he understood the principle of not revealing your wealth and keeping a low profile. He was afraid that giving too much money to his mom and dad all of a sudden would make someone with a heart hurt them, so he decided to give it slowly. At this point, Ni Haitong glanced at Qin Ming, skimmed her lips and said in a small hum, "How low is his emotional quotient? Didn't you notice that I was unhappy just now? Don't you know how to take the initiative to ask me question mark and quad?" Qin Ming was waiting patiently for a message from his parents, but every 5 minutes, the money was returned. The phone also received 2 short messages at the same time. "Keep the money for yourself when you earn it. Dad is not old yet. You will earn it yourself. And quad. Xiao Ming, you have this filial piety mom knows. You have money to buy Li Meng some new clothes. People city girls. Aggravation cannot be. And quad." Qin Ming shook his head speechlessly. His mother still thought he was with Li Meng. He was about to think of a new excuse when Song Ying's call came in. Song Ying said, "Young master, the head of our Huanyu group in South China, Qi Yundong, wants to make an appointment with you and wants to get to know you. Do you want to see him or not? And quad. The Huanyu Century Group is what Chang Hongzai has spent his life building, but no media knows that this group exists, except for important internal members. And the South China grouping is just that, the head who manages the business and power of the entire South China region. How mysterious Huanyu was, how much wealth he controlled and how many powerful people he had under him. Qin Ming only had a general idea at the moment. Qin Ming thought about it, got up and walked away, saying, "Back now. Send someone to pick me up at the entrance of the school, the meeting place. You let him arrange it." And quad. Ni Haitong played on the court for a while, then turned her head to look at Qin Ming's side, but suddenly froze. Where was he? She was so angry that she stomped her foot, annoyed. "You're leaving now? I still have something to ask you. Qin Ming, remember that." And quad. Chapter 9. In a customized stretch Rolls-Royce sedan, Qin Ming took Song Ying's information about the entire South China region of Huanyu Century Group. There is also Qi Yundong's personal information and biography. After reading the biography, Qin Ming sighed. Qi Yundong was actually his father's little brother, and he started from the bottom, and worked for more than 30 years, with a lot of merits, so he can be called a loyal servant. And quad. Song Ying said, "Yes, young master." After the master made his will, the heir is not his famous children, nor is he the one who is married. There are many shocks in the Universal Century Group. The master will gradually let some people know the existence of the young master. The first is the Chinese side of the people. And quad. Half an hour later, the Rolls-Royce arrived at the South Mountain Manor. Qin Ming saw in the car, this South Mountain Manor is the top leisure manor in Guangzhou. The style is like the ancient royal palace. The environment is quiet, fresh air, but inside the hidden modern structure, there is a horse racing track and helipad behind. Under normal circumstances, a night stay costs 100,000 yuan. But now that the owner's family is here, it is not open to the public. After entering the manor, Qin Ming's Rolls-Royce drove on one side, and on both sides there were 8 black-clad bodyguards running along with the sedan for cover, which was a presidential-level escort, and finally docked outside the South Mountain Manor's Buddha Lotusan. The entrance has been more than half a century. Qi Yundong, leading the South China region, the responsible group leaders of provincial industries, waiting in line. The lowest level of these are provincial-level team leaders, and there is only one municipal-level officer, and that is the local team leader of Guangzhou City, Ho Ching. Song Ying opened the car door for Qin Ming. The moment Qin Ming landed, Qi Yundong and his party have bowed 90 degrees, said in unison, "Meet the young master, welcome the young master." And quad. Qin Ming actually has a little bit of weakness, this battle, this respectful salute, which he has seen. But in order not to sit on the mountain, he had to face these righteous. Father left him the old ministry. Qin Ming responded indifferently, "It's hot, go in and talk." And quad. Qi Yundong and the others immediately automatically lined up the middle of the road, and at the same time, they were curious to look at this fallen from the sky, Chang Hongxi's hand-picked heir. What is so unusual that he can take over the Huanyu Century Group, a class monster that controls countless wealth worldwide? How it looks, the young master is nothing special, unkempt, inexpensive clothes, only a pair of clear eyes, quite spiritual. After everyone sat down, Qin Ming felt a different, never before enjoyed the gaze of awe. There were not many people who could sit, just 6 people in total. Qi Yundong, the general team leader of the industrial responsibility of South China region belonging to Huanyu, Ho Ching, the team leader of Guang City, and the general responsible team leaders of Fu, Yun, Zai and Hu provinces. The others were secretaries and had to stand. Qi Yundong. They first introduced themselves, as well as the industry and scope of responsibility. Qin Ming remembered one by one. After their introduction, Qin Ming said forcefully, I know, you must be wondering, what is my relationship with the old Chang in the end? Can I take care of Huan Yu in the future? I won't write a blank check for you all, but I can tell you that the future owner of Huan Yu Century Group is none other than me. And Quat. Qi Yundong and others listened with a trembling heart. This young man, so powerful confidence. Qin Ming continued, I hope you all do a good job, a dynasty son of a minister of the truth that we all understand. The old Chang has cancer, everyone knows that his days are numbered. This time stand in line is very important. I hope you do not misunderstand. And Quat. Qi Yundong and others were silenced. The young master did not seem to be as ordinary as he seemed. He was very clear about his current situation and was warning each and every one of them while promising benefits. In fact, these senior management of Huan Yu, of course, knew the horror of Huan Yu Century Group. In addition to the huge industry and business on the surface, there were also unseen teams in the dark. In the past, there were betrayers within Huan Yu, but they all disappeared without a trace, and those unseen teams, and they were independent of each other, and they had never seen them. Instead, they knew that Song Ying, who was standing beside Qin Ming, could contact those hunting teams. Qi Yundong was the first to stand up and express his loyalty, saying, Young Master, the Master has given word for us to properly assist Young Master. I, Qi Yundong, swear to heaven that I will serve Young Master in Huan Yu until the day I die. And Quat. The other group leaders also stood up, showing their loyalty and following Qin Ming's horse. This meeting went very well. The next is the work report and banquet time. The atmosphere has also eased a lot. Everyone came to Qin Ming to say a few words, so familiar with the future new master. If you can make Qin Ming remember, then the future promotion in the hope of Ah. As the saying goes, how much wine can you drink, how many friends you can make? Qin Ming actually can drink, and each of them have a few glasses, the relationship gradually familiar with up. Listening to the reports of his subordinates, he found that Huan Yu Century Group was involved in too many industries, such as biotechnology, weapons parts, heavy metals, mining, transportation, aerospace technology, department store trade, automobiles, etc. The industries were many and huge, and there was even a lot of cooperation with the government. At the end of the banquet, Qin Ming stayed with Qi Yundong, the head of the South China region, and Ho Qing, the head of the team in Guangzhou. Qin Ming said, Mr. Qi, Mr. Ho, for a long time to come, I will stay in Guangzhou. I hope my life will not be disturbed, so that I can successfully complete my studies. And Quat. Understood. And Quat. The two said in unison. Qin Ming continued, I will gradually familiarize myself with the domestic business of China. In the future, if there is any situation that cannot be judged, there are people who go against my wishes. You do not have to report upwards, just tell me directly. This matter I have spoken to the old Chang. He also agreed. After all, the future I am also to take over the entire group. And Quat. Qi Yundong and Ho Qing looked at each other, and both read excitement in each other's eyes. Qin Ming said these words to them. Then in the future they are Qin Ming's beloved. As long as they do a good job, Qin Ming smoothly take over the whole Huan Yu Century Group. Then in the future they are the brawn of the minister. Promotion is inevitable. After explaining a few words to the two, Qin Ming waved his hand and said, all right, you are all busy people, go back. And Quat. Qi Yundong bowed and then clapped his hands. At this time there are three about 20 willowy beauty, wearing thin white net gauze dress came through the door, standing in front of Qin Ming. The gauze is very thin. You can vaguely see the beauty of the delicate body. This stimulation, who can withstand? Qin Ming couldn't help but think about it. Qi Yundong said, Young Master, my subordinates took it upon themselves to find 3 beautiful women who can sing and dance for the young master. If the young master is tired then you can. And Quat. The content behind them is self-explanatory. This Qi Yundong thoughtful, although Qin Ming quite like, but today he is to understand some of his subordinates, not to snog. He waved his hand and said, no, I still have things to do. Song Ying, go back. And Quat. Qi Yundong and Ho Qing listened and immediately followed them around. Qin Ming took 2 steps and stopped, saying, right. And Quat. Qi Yundong and Ho Qing's heart thumped. Indeed, the young master is still young, men and women's affairs cannot be avoided. Qin Ming pointed to the table to eat the leftover fruit, said those fruits not eaten do not waste, packaged for me to take back. And Quat. I go, you tang the global wealth of the righteous son, a meal but also pack a few leftover fruit. Qi Yundong and others are stunned. After Qin Ming left, Ho Qing couldn't help but ask Chief Qi, what do you think of this young master? And Quat. Qi Yundong said, this young master Qin, then the other 3 young masters and 2 young ladies are calm and modest, although sitting on the world's largest wealth, but not the least bit arrogant and extravagant, but also know how to think of danger and peace, more refinement. The future will become a climate, worth following. And Quat. Chapter 10. Just returned to school, it was already evening. Just thinking about where to eat, the dormitory 3 brothers' cell phone call Xiaoming, full of blessing building, the introduction of the business school beauty you know. And quat. Qin Ming refused. I'm not interested. And quat. Zhao Li knew but insisted. Xiao Ming, the old does not go to the new does not come. Is not this the truth? Li Meng everyday class group to show off her and Yang Wei eating, drinking and playing, arrogant as can be. We can't let that bitch Li Meng look down on us, can we? Besides, if you don't like it, forget it, we won't force it. And quat. Qin Ming was also too kind to refuse. He made the dormitory brothers trouble, not to cold their enthusiasm, so he said, okay, I'll be right there. And quat. Man Fu Lu, private room. Qin Ming just walked to the door, just opened the door to hear a familiar woman's voice in the high talk. I tell you, today I really see what is called the odd man out. The previous are online. Today really see a steal my breakfast odd man out. And quat. TSK, who is so poor, but also steal people's breakfast. The silly cranny out of the mountain nook ? And quat. The best silk the best of silk. And quat. The woman said angrily, no, he stole food but also deadly denied, next to someone proved, but also he a class. These days, it's okay to be poor, but not without ambition, not without commitment, right? He ate even if, but also took the money package looks like to give money, the result is not even $100 inside. And quat. Ha 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 ha, so strange? The surrounding people burst into laughter. Qin Ming saw through the doorway. The person who spoke was not the business school's Chen Mulin who met in the library this morning. I never thought that she would be there. Chen Mulin pulled a girl's hand, said Wawa sister, you cannot introduce such a superb boy to know, or I really cannot stand it. And quat. Liang Xiaoyang's girlfriend is Zhao Menghua, a senior in the business school. Zhao Menghua hurriedly said, how come? Our Xiaoyang introduced the boy, cannot be too bad, the economics class bully, the results of 3 years are the first. And quat. Liang Xiaoyang also smiled and said Chen Mulin, you can rest assured, our brother's character trustworthy, but very dedicated people. And quat. Sun Jipang also followed to help stay with us for 3 years, can be worse, although the family is average, but good to learn and improve, after graduation will certainly be able to do a career. And quat. Zhao Lin Yu is patting his chest, said yes, how good is our Xiaoming? Every year he can get the scholarship, just met someone wrong, was cheated, but now it has passed. Ah, said Cao Cao. Cao Cao arrived, this is not coming. Qin Ming originally did not want to go in, because he recognized Chen Mulin. He went in as not embarrassing, but after standing at the door and listening for a while, it happened that Zhao Linyu looked back at the door and saw him coming from the doorway. Qin Ming also has no choice but to push the door and enter, this time to escape, only more embarrassment. As soon as he entered, Chen Mulin immediately pointed at him and shouted, ah, it's you ? And quat. Qin Ming came in and saw that in addition to the 3 people in the dormitory, there were Liang Xiaoyang and Sun Jipang, their girlfriends, and Chen Mulin and another girl. It was a normal gathering. However, because in the morning in the library, after he ate Chen Mulin's cake, the atmosphere is now a bit strange. Zhao Menghua looked at them strangely and asked, Mu Ling, do you know each other? That's good, we don't even need to introduce you. And quat. Chen Mulin laughed, and her tone was somewhat dismissive. She clasped her hands, highlighting the fullness of the upper circumference, her long legs crossed to show a slender body, but a million disgusted look. Do not know, he is not the one who stole my cake, but also dead to admit the strange silk cackle. And quat. What ? And quat. The crowd was shocked. Just now they also follow the joke that stole someone else's cake of pure silk, but the result is to introduce the Qin Ming. The atmosphere in the room was once very awkward. This situation they have never encountered, the atmosphere to be more awkward. We all stare at each other dry eyes, do not know how to speak to regulate the atmosphere. But several girls look at Qin Ming, although a stall, but quite clean looking and a few handsome, but did not expect to be a steal to eat other people's cake silk. The women in the heart of Qin Ming a burst of contempt, thinking, really people cannot look like, and their contempt is gradually transformed from the heart into the eyes. Qin Ming frowned, this contempt he is most familiar with, he has been feeling this high, arrogant sight since childhood, like a mountain pressed against him. Zhao Linyu scratching his head, originally thought to introduce a good beautiful woman to the dormitory good brother to convert the mood. The results of the two had an awkward, he the dormitory boss has to hurry to find a way to do. He asked, what's going on, huh? Xiao Ming. And quat. Qin Ming explained, the library, it was a misunderstanding. Zhao Fugi shifted the location of the cake, I thought someone else gave it to me before eating it. It's true that I was reckless. And quat. Liang Xiaoyang shook his fist and said, so it was Zhao Fugi, that despicable person, I told you, how could it be? And quat. Liang Xiaoyang said, pushed his girlfriend. Zhao Menghua immediately understood, although not quite believe, but her boyfriend said so. She hurriedly said, Mu Ling, you see, there is a misunderstanding. Someone tricked. And quat. I thought this explanation could make Chen Mulin satisfied, but the result is that Chen Mulin is not satisfied, but also exploded. She stood up, her delicate arm pointed at Qin Ming, said all excuses, the cake is only 100, you ate it, the key is not to admit, and what others planted you. And what are you? Worth someone else planted you? Stolen you a piece of cake? You do not quietly you this poor look, really think of themselves, ha dot and quat. If you honestly admit, I still think you really man, but you do not admit twice, admit that you made a mistake is so difficult question mark and quat. Oh, you're good at your studies? What's the use of that? Personality is not good, or extremely good silk dot and quat. Sister hua, it's not that I don't give you face, it's that I'm disgusted when I see him, I can't stay, it's not like I have no one to chase after Chen Mulin dot and quat. Chen Mulin is really angry enough, originally a few years in college, has been single, met Zhao Meng Hua, see her all day with her boyfriend in pairs, happy and sweet, she also moved the spring heart. The first time I saw her, I was introduced to a senior student in my economics class, so Chen Mulin thought she'd come to the right place, and if she could get along, then she'd experience the feeling of love. The result is good, encounter this kind of poor silk, stealing to eat her cake, dead, but also the cake box are licked clean, really disgusted to her. Chen Mulin grabbed the 1V bag as a gesture to go, but was pulled by several girls. If this Chen Mulin a go, the atmosphere is not more awkward? Qin Ming saw that he alone made everyone have a good atmosphere, although grateful for the help of the brothers, but also cannot make the brothers embarrassed. He said, oh, yes, I forgot I have a part-time job. Oops, I'll go first, I'll eat next time. And quat. Qin Ming finally took the initiative to leave the scene, so as not to make things difficult for Zhao Lin Yu and the others. The phone shook. Is Ni Haitong to text Qin Ming your SLR or not? I'm waiting for you in the small bamboo forest. And quat. Qin Ming saw this text message. Know that tonight again do not have to eat.